Listen carefully, because this is the part they'll never admit out loud. You walked into that room thinking it was just another moment, just another conversation, just another silent judgment hanging in the air like smoke. But something shifted, didn't it? Something cracked beneath the surface, something you couldn't quite name, but you felt it. That tension, that hesitation, that sudden, unnatural stillness, and now it's eating at you. Who the hell stood up for you in that room and changed everything forever? Because it wasn't obvious. Oh no. Nothing real ever is. You keep replaying it, don't you? Every glance, every word, every micro-expression, the way their tone changed, the way the energy twisted, like someone invisible grabbed the script and rewrote it mid-scene. And you weren't supposed to notice, but you did. That's the problem you're starting to see. You thought power looked loud, aggressive, dominant. You thought it walked in wearing confidence like armor, announcing itself with noise and force. But what you witnessed, that wasn't power, that was control, silent, precise, surgical. Someone in that room, someone you probably didn't even consider, chose you. Not out of kindness, not out of loyalty, but because they saw something in you that the others were too blind or too stupid to recognize. And that terrifies you, doesn't it? Because now you're realizing something far more dangerous than betrayal. You're realizing you're not who you thought you were. You're not just the quiet one, not just the overlooked one, not just the background noise they ignored. No. You're the variable they couldn't calculate, and someone far more dangerous than you, decided to protect that variable. Ask yourself this: why would anyone risk shifting the entire dynamic of a room for you? What did they see? Because people don't move like that without reason, not at that level, not with that kind of precision. That wasn't emotion, that wasn't impulse. That was strategy. And here's where it gets uncomfortable. What if the one who stood up for you wasn't the hero? What if they weren't the good guy in your story? What if they were the most dangerous person in that room, and they chose you anyway? Now you're standing at the edge of something you can't unsee. Because the moment someone like that acknowledges you, the moment they intervene on your behalf, you're no longer invisible. You're marked. You've been pulled out of the safe, predictable narrative and dropped into something far more chaotic, far more real. You feel it, don't you? That strange mix of fear and power. Because part of you is asking, why me? But another part, a darker, quieter part, is whispering, what if I'm not weak? What if I've just been pretending to be? That's the duality they never prepared you for. You've spent your whole life trying to be the good version of yourself, the acceptable one, the polite one, the one that doesn't disrupt, doesn't threaten, doesn't make people uncomfortable. But in that room, something else showed up, something sharper, colder, more calculated, and whether you like it or not, they saw it. The version of you that doesn't beg for validation, the version that doesn't hesitate, the version that can walk into chaos and become it. That's who they stood up for, not the mask, not the act. You, the real you. And that scares you more than anything, because now the illusion is breaking. You're starting to understand that power isn't about being liked. It's about being unpredictable. Because predictable people get controlled. Predictable people get used. Predictable people get erased. But you just became a question mark. And nothing terrifies people more than what they can't predict. That's why the room shifted. That's why the energy snapped. That's why everything felt like it was teetering on the edge of something dangerous. Because in that moment, without saying a word, without making a scene, someone rewrote your position in the hierarchy. And nobody knows how to deal with that. Not even you. Now you're caught between two worlds, aren't you? The version of you that wants to go back to normal, back to safety, back to being unnoticed, and the version of you that's starting to realize there is no going back, because once you've been seen like that, truly seen, you can't shrink yourself again. You can try, you can pretend, you can act like nothing happened, but deep down, you know something changed. And here's the part they'll never tell you. The one who stood up for you, they didn't save you, they activated you. They exposed the part of you that doesn't wait for permission, the part that doesn't need approval, the part that doesn't care if it's loved or hated, as long as it's real. That's why it feels so intense. Because you're not just processing what happened in that room. You're processing what's happening to you. You're evolving and evolution. It's violent. It rips apart the version of you that was comfortable. It destroys the identity you've been hiding behind. It forces you to confront the truth you've been avoiding. You were never meant to fit in that room. You were meant to change it. And now that you've tasted that shift, even for a second, you're addicted. You can't unfeel it. You can't unsee it. You can't go back to being harmless, even if you tried, because somewhere deep inside, something woke up, something that doesn't ask, who stood up for me? But instead asks, what happens when I start standing up for myself? And when that happens, when you stop waiting, when you stop hesitating, when you stop pretending to be smaller than you are, you won't need anyone to change the room for you. You'll walk in, and the room will change on its own. Every time. You feel that, don't you? That quiet hum under your skin, like something is pacing back and forth inside you, waiting for permission you're no longer sure it needs. Good, because this is where it gets dangerous. Not for them, for you. You see, the moment you start asking, what happens when I stand up for myself? You're not stepping into confidence. You're stepping into conflict. And conflict doesn't ask who you used to be. It only cares about who you're willing to become. That room you walked into, that wasn't just a place, it was a test. A pressure chamber designed to expose weakness, to measure silence, to reward predictability. And for a long time, you played your role perfectly. You smiled when expected. You stayed quiet when necessary. You made yourself digestible, acceptable, safe. But safety is just a prettier word for control. And the second someone disrupted that control on your behalf, they didn't just defend you. They broke the illusion. Now you're standing in the aftermath of something invisible, but irreversible. Because now you know what it feels like when the balance shifts. Now you've seen how fragile their authority really is. Now you understand that all it takes is one moment, one decision, one calculated move, and the entire structure collapses. So what's stopping you? Go on. Say it. Fear. Fear of what? Being judged. They were already judging you. Fear of being hated. They never needed a reason to dislike you in the first place. Fear of losing control. You never had control. You had permission. And permission is a leash. You're starting to see it now, aren't you? That thin line between the version of you that obeys and the version of you that decides. The saint who waits, and the psychopath who acts. The angel who hopes, and the demon who knows. And here's the truth that's going to make your stomach twist. You need both. That's the paradox. The world lied to you, told you to pick a side. Be good or be strong, be kind or be powerful, be loved or be feared. But the ones who actually change things, they don't choose, they integrate, they smile. While calculating, they listen. While planning, they stay silent. Until silence becomes a weapon. And when they move, it's already too late. That's what you felt in that room. Not chaos, not aggression, precision. Someone who understood timing so well. They didn't need volume. And now, that awareness is crawling into your mind, infecting your thoughts, changing the way you see everything. You're noticing things you didn't notice before. The hesitation in people's voices, the fake confidence in their posture, the subtle power plays happening in every conversation. It's like the curtain got pulled back. And now you can't unsee the performance. That's the price of awareness. It isolates you. Because once you understand the game, you stop enjoying the illusion. And here's where it gets even darker. You're not just observing anymore. You're learning, adapting, becoming. Every time you replay that moment, your brain isn't just remembering it, it's studying it. What did they do? When did they intervene? How did they shift the energy without forcing it? And the most dangerous question of all, can I do that too? Careful, that question doesn't have an off switch, because the answer is yes. But not the version of you that's still clinging to comfort, not the version of you that needs approval, not the version of you that hesitates at the edge of confrontation and calls it peace. No, the version of you that can do that is colder, sharper, more intentional. The version of you that doesn't react emotionally, but responds strategically. And once that version steps forward, there's no clean way back, because now you're not just living your life. You're playing the room, every conversation, every silence. You're reading people before they speak. You're sensing shifts before they happen. You're understanding that power isn't what you say. It's what you allow and what you refuse. And suddenly, you're not the same person who walked into that room anymore. That version of you. They're fading, slowly, quietly, like a character being written out of their own story, replaced by someone else, someone who doesn't wait to be chosen, because they've realized something terrifying. The one who stood up for you, they weren't special. They were just aware. And awareness, that's contagious. It spreads. It rewires you. It turns hesitation into calculation and doubt into clarity. That same unsettling calm. And let the silence do exactly what it was always meant to do. Finish the job.